Hey, it's Montreal Expert. The other day I had the chance to go hang out with Kevin Ledo. Kevin has been painting up on the walls of Montreal now for over a decade. He is one of my favorite artists. We had a chance to catch up and he answered a few of my questions.
This is a studio that I rent with Jean Labourdette, and we rent from Atelier Créatif, and we're in the Mile End in the former manufacturing building. I believe it's under a year that we've been here, but we've been together in other studios prior.
Jean Labourdette's work is absolutely amazing. You can check it out on his Instagram account. It's such a privilege to get to visit an artist's studio and see the space in which they create.
Kind of in research and development mode, which is kind of like experiments, trying things out, working on my own body of work, which is a really slow process because most of the time I'm using that time to paint murals. And so when I have time in my studio in the winter, that's when I'm developing my body of work. Like these are just like these studies that I keep doing, which are always what I always end up using for larger works. It's still a great city for artists, yes. It's maybe not as easy as it used to be for artists. The cost of living has gone up so much. A lot of artists used to come here from all over Canada and even the US. Because it was cheap living, it was a creative hub, and culturally there's a lot of focus on arts and culture. And so it's just a really good incubator for things to happen, things to be created. But it is changing. It's changed quite a bit, but it's still, I still think it's a great city. I think one of the main things that would really help is if the rents weren't so high and there was more spaces, more choice for living situations. And here's some of my color studies that I've been doing on a smaller scale. And these will just stay abstract, as well as some of my larger ones will just stay abstract. So it's interesting towing the line between the two. I mean, I really like capturing the essence of someone in their eyes. It's really important to really capture that person. For me, that's the most important part, but one thing I really do enjoy painting is like the curl of the lip here, because there's all these like little muscles in your face that if they're engaged, people read it as an emotion. So it's amazing how you could just adjust the light a little bit and it reads as an emotion. So I find that a lot of fun. That's what I'm trying to achieve now, is like this is probably the first attempt at it where, I mean, the face is very obvious now, but I like to make sure that a lot of the abstract doesn't disappear, doesn't look like decoration. So like it still holds its own while still having a portrait in it. So, oh my goodness, have dinner with. Would have loved to have met Leonard Cohen and sat down for a meal with him, but I'll go with that for now. Even like looking at this one, they don't see the face at first. They kind of just see an abstract form, and then as soon as they notice it, they're like, oh my goodness, there's something very realistic there. So I'm trying to push that so it doesn't look like a portrait painting right off the bat, that the abstract elements speak to you. I mean, I'm a product of the city. I traveled a lot, and I lived in different places, but you know, essentially I'm from here, and so my sensibilities are from the city and what I grew up in culturally. My ethnic background has a big part of it. The city that I live in has a big part of it, but also like all the subcultures and ideas that I grew up with, all my ethics and morals, and I think music had a really big part of that as well. So there's a lot of factors that make me who I am. I really love. And you can probably see in some of my work, like it's kind of like a throwback to like 70s design in a way, you know, with the colors overlapping like that. But also like, you know, in 60s and more like 70s graphic design would have these like big bars of color. So there's something else. There is a nostalgia in my artwork, I suppose. I really always loved that era. Like I always loved like 60s women's hair and their makeup and the mini skirts. And, you know, like I love that fashion. I love the graphic design. Yeah. So and maybe because I grew up, you know, like late 70s, early 80s, there's, you know, it's a lot of what I grew up around. So I guess there's a lot of artists are always seem to be trying to recreate in one way or another, like some element of their childhood.
I think you are a nostalgic or a romantic.
I'm probably a romantic, probably.
And now it's time for Montreal Experts Questionnaire.
2 and a couple more not so well. Fuck, I don't know. French has so many good curse words. Like the classic tabarnak de calice is probably one of my favorite. I think that's what's so great about the French swearing. It has so many hits when you're angry. In English, motherfucker probably is the best. I love going to Cafe and Gamba. It's like a treat for me. Every week or so, I meet up with a friend and we're like, let's go for nice coffee. I try to cover the bases with like the bagels and old Montreal, a walk into the mountain. That's actually something I really like doing, is going for a walk up the mountain. And then just places to eat. There's so many great places to eat. One of my favorites is Brian B. Young. I just love his direction and his creativity and what he's trying to achieve. He's like going after something really specific, and I find it really inspiring.
Minus 25 or plus 25?
Plus 25.
Minus 35 or plus 35?
Plus 35.
Minus 45 or plus 45?
Minus 45.
A big thank you to Kevin for giving me his time. Voila!